All right, welcome. Thank you for everybody who is joining now and for attending this live stream training. I know that this is a topic that everyone who's watching is going to really love because I've had a number of requests for this topic. I have a lot of enthusiasm for it. I'm really passionate about it. I know a lot of you are as well. And the topic today is going to be Incarnation Cross. Your incarnation cross, your story, and then we're going to weave that into your business in terms of attracting new clients with the power of your story. If you're just joining now, we're going to be discussing as much as possible individual incarnation crosses because there are a lot of them. I'll get into the specifics as we go along, but if you're tuning in, first of all, let me know if you are watching this live currently, or if you're tuning in for the replay afterwards. And then for purposes of our discussion as well, comment what is your human design type first. Maybe it's your C63 splenic authority manifestor, and then let everybody know what your incarnation cross. Maybe it's the cross of consciousness. Maybe it's the cross of Maya, or in my case, I'm a 1-3 splenic, 1-3 emotional authority projector, and I have the cross of the unexpected. So I'll share a little bit about that in my story as well. The topic we're going to be covering is 3 topics. The basics and the overview of Incarnation Cross. There's a lot of breadth and depth, you might say. There's a lot to it. So we'll cover an overview of Incarnation Cross, and then specifically how this is going to work into your story, attracting new clients. And then third, examples. I'll give some specific examples of some folks in the human design entrepreneurs community. So again, if you're just tuning in, hey Jen, hey Angie, it's good to see you guys. Nice to have you here. Comment your human design type and your incarnation cross as I get into it here. All right, start off with the welcome again. Thank you for being here. The orientation is we're going to go for about 30 minutes. There's a lot to cover. Until 4:30 Central Standard Time. Who this is for, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're growing a business with human design, this is for you. And if you want to attract new clients. It's not for non-entrepreneurs, don't have a business and you're not using human design, this may not be relevant to you. And if you're not looking to attract new clients either. What's in it for you? To learn more about incarnation crosses in general. This is a topic that you may not hear discussed often. And I found out, I think the reason why is because there's so many of them. In fact, there's 192 different crosses. And within the 192, because you might have a 1, 2, 3, or 4 at the end of your cross, that makes up for 700 different possible variations of incarnation cross. So learn more about that today. And then seeing how your incarnation cross can attract new clients with the power of your story. Why stick around at the end? As usual, I have some great free resources for you to apply what you've learned and what we've covered. And then at the end, I'll discuss a number of the details I have about my current offer of how I guide people through these principles in a 3-month process. So it's a guidance program that's focused on you specifically and your chart and your business. So first, about the human design entrepreneurs community, it's to bring people together who understand you and get you, and they know kind of the ups and downs and ebbs and flows of what you're going through right now, of using your human design to fuel your business. I also am pretty adamant about this being a bridge between human design knowledge and wisdom, which in and of itself is profound, but then to really bring it into the practical world of application, especially with business principles and what I call manifesting the practicals. Also, something I feel like is key for, especially for this topic we're going to be discussing today, is the different types of languaging and having honor and respect for people's preference, whatever their different perspectives are. And I like to say this, that it's about experimenting and not about who is right or wrong per se. Everyone's learning as they go. And also to uplift and inspire one another. to reach new levels of success, and you can go further together. All right, a bit about my backstory. Because I have the cross of the unexpected, this was genuinely, in my 10 plus years of studying human design and sharing it, was honestly the last aspect of my chart that I was able to embrace, because it's the last thing that I wanted to be my story. I was trying to find any way out of it, like anything but this. Please, I wanted my life to be predictable and a normal life, if there is such a thing. In fact, my first career that I started out with, for 6 years, I was a meteorologist forecasting the weather. And no, I was not on the news. I worked with helicopter pilots, but I love this aspect of studying the weather, something that was inherently unpredictable and honestly kind of chaotic that nobody quite understood, and being able to forecast and predict what was going to happen. Like weather and like life itself, it's not an exact science. So this is what finally allowed me to embrace the unexpected and stepping into the unknown and kind of letting go of what I thought was going to happen. It's made my life significantly more interesting. So I encourage everyone who's listening today to really embrace this aspect of their chart of being their story. Also seeing your incarnation cross, I've seen this more as kind of the cart before the horse, as everyone gets into the mechanics a lot of times. For purposes of our discussion today, I'll speak a little bit about the masculine and the feminine dynamics of the chart. The masculine component of it, a lot of times seems to be the mechanics, the numbers, how things work, where the incarnation cross is more of the qualitative value of the story. And the story is really what brings to life and gives context to the mechanics of all the, you've probably heard a million times type, strategy, and authority over and over again. But really, it's understanding the context, because your story provides the context for the mechanics of like the why. Like why is it that you're following this type, strategy, and authority? What's the trajectory? And as we go through this training, you'll see that it's a story that kind of follows you no matter what throughout your life. It's the plot line of your story. 3 topics, like I said: incarnation cross basics, overview, and then incarnation cross to attract new clients in your copywriting and your messaging. And then I'll go through some specific examples. I'm going to get into traditional human design and then reframing it into something that's more approachable from quantum human design, of the vibration of the language. This is really key here, that some people are really attached to the traditional language. A lot of times it's just what you heard first. It's like if you heard a version of a song first and you love that song and you really identify with it, and then there's a remake or some variation of it, and you kind of fall in love with what you first heard. But it's the integration of the two. Okay, I like this basis of a preamble when discussing human design on terms of the Greek etymology of ethos, pathos, and logos. I covered ethos and pathos last time. The logos is the logic. It's the basis and the foundation for forming the sequence of a discourse or a dialogue for purposes of discussion to draw reasonable conclusions. This could be relevant to people who, I hear this a lot of, you love human design, it resonates with you completely, but you feel like an alien trying to talk to you about it, about your friends and family, and it just falls flat. So these are some of the logical sequences I found that might be relevant. So human design, it's objective in the sense that it's a system calculated from your birth time, meaning that everyone's birth time is going to give them the same chart. So it removes confirmation bias than a system, say like Enneagram or Myers-Briggs, which are great, but that's up to you to kind of fill out a survey. It's not using objective information of your birth time. It also is something, like I said, that's repeatable and verifiable. Everyone would run the same chart no matter what with the same birth information. So everyone's starting with the same baseline. Subjective measurement with repeatable outcome can draw objective. That's kind of loaded. It's abstract a bit. I'll just say that, and that there's an aspect of like anecdotal or subjective science that if enough people, say if you have similar, no one chart is the same, but if you have similar charts with somebody, you can start to draw objective conclusions from people who have reported the same experiences of, yes, this is how I experience this chart and this dynamic as well, and start to draw conclusions from that on an objective level of kind of this field called subjective science. There's also, it's not quite logic yet. You might feel that it is, but nature versus nurture, in that you're kind of born, or especially if you're a parent and you have children, they're just the way they are from the moment they're born. It doesn't really matter what you do. You can't shape their personality. It's like, that's just how my child is. And so it's a sense of having been yourself your entire life since the day you were born. And then all the conditioning and nurture aspect that kind of can cover up that. And that's why people go through a deconditioning journey. So reframing human design language can maintain original discernment of human design while making it more approachable. I don't know what the logic was there, but let's move on. Okay, overview of Incarnation Cross. Like I said, it's the plot line or the narrative of your life story. It's less mechanical and less quantifying it with all the numbers and everything. And it's more about the subjective value. It's a consistent theme throughout your life. And you may be wondering, you might know this already, of why it's called a cross. It's fairly simple. And then if you look up at the top four gates, which are your sun signs and your earth signs crossed together like this, those 4 gates there. And in this example, it's on the conscious side, which is the black side. It has to do with your soul and your soul purpose. Gate 27 and gate 28 of sun and earth. And then on the red side, which is corresponds to your life or your life purpose, gates 41 and 31. So these 4 gates together make up a cross, your Incarnation Cross. Why this isn't discussed a lot is because there's so many different variations. If there's any question about you having a 1000% unique chart, you add this element of there's 700 different variations that someone else might be a 2-4 splenic projector, but the likelihood of them having the same Incarnation Cross, being born at the same time, same geographical location as you. The question I get from there a lot of times is about twins. If you speak to twins, it's fascinating. And if they do have the same chart, you ultimately get down to the level of people's souls, and they go, well, I'm different from my twin. We share a lot in common, but it's clearly different souls inhabiting different charts, experiencing the particular vehicle in a very different way. It's kind of cool. There's 4 different types of crosses. Left angle cross is 33% of the population. And this relates more to the interpersonal dynamics between you and another person, a lot of times here to serve and be of service to other people. I say that lightly in that, if you have the cross of service, it's ultimately about you and being of service to your own individual evolution. And then by proxy, that serving other people's evolution. That's why I say interpersonal with left angle cross. Right angle cross, a larger majority, 64% of the population. This has more to do with your personal evolution and personal dynamics of your life and your evolution. Less common is 3% of the population. It's called juxtaposition. That's a bridge between the 2, interpersonal and personal dynamics. I think I covered this already. If you in the orientation, as I may not have said, if you have particular questions, I will respond to them after the live stream here. This is a quote that I find very relevant to kind of bring to light what Incarnation Cross is all about as a life theme, particular life theme. This is the theme of your life in a story-based sense that stays with you through life and provides quiet reminders of where to best place your attention and your natural gifts and abilities. That's a quote by Chetan Parkin. All right, here is an example that we'll start off with to kind of lead into this theme of attracting clients based off your unique story. Natasha Amber, if you're in attendance today, thank you very much. She said she would donate her chart to science, is how she phrased it. I thought that was pretty funny. So she volunteered her chart to use as an example. Natasha is a 4/6 splenic authority manifester, and her incarnation cross is right angle cross. That's what RAX means, is the right angle cross of rulership. And then 3 means there's 4 different variations of this particular cross, and hers is the cross of rulership, number 3. Her conscious sun signs are gate 47 and gate 22 on the right side of the chart. That's conscious sun, conscious earth, and then unconscious sun and unconscious earth, gate 45 and 26. Now, this is where a particular reframe sometimes can be very uplifting to people on a vibrational level. So through Karen Curry Parker's relanguaging of quantum human design, if this resonates with you a bit more, it's something that might reframe your life story and going from the cross of rulership to the cross of sovereignty. So if you're using the term rulership, again, it's still applicable. It's more, a lot of the traditional languaging for human design can come very much, can be very applicable. But maybe not as relevant to what the message you're wanting to get across. So less effective for your copywriting of your story would be an example of, I help people establish rulership over their lives. Not a lot of nuance to that as far as rulership goes. The result is less clarity on what it is that means. A more effective is, I help whoever your particular audience is, establish personal sovereignty in their lives so they can reclaim their inner light. And then you can go on to share your story of what particular challenges that you overcame. And then the result is you're sharing more of an inspiring, compelling story that speaks directly to people who want to achieve the same result as you. These are a few folks who already mentioned their incarnation cross in the previous comments on another post. So here are some examples of reframing from traditional human design to quantum human design. Again, both can be applicable. I call it like 2 sides of the same coin. Sometimes, like mine, for example, is cross of unexpected, and reframed in quantum human design as a cross of imagination. I like to go between both sometimes. Sometimes both seem relevant. The melody, left angle cross of refinement is traditional language. And then in quantum human design, it's the cross of clarification. Kathy's cross is the cross of uncertainty. So you can see here how it's one side of the coin is that there's a tendency to be uncertain. It's also uncertain about and skeptical, perhaps, of seeking truth and ultimately wanting to find something greater, of more abundance. So uncertain of things that are less abundant, and kind of shifting into this different vibration or different language. There's some too, like Tierra St. Clair. For whatever reason, there seems to be some more common crosses I see, or maybe just ones that come up more often in my sphere, but the cross of the 4 ways. And this can lead people into 4 different directions and always kind of feel like they're at crossroads in their life. And ultimately it comes down to the realization of there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, and just to kind of be present, be with yourself, to rest and to restore. So this in quantum human design is a cross of restoration. Angie has the cross of tension. This is a beautiful one, of tension, and that it's kind of like a good analogy is drawing back the string of a bow. And then as it flies forward, the more tension you have on the bow, the further it flies. And then after you've had a lot of dynamic activity, you're just able to rest. So it's a cross of restoration after dynamic activity, or correction, cross of renewal, able to renew and restore and rest. Kristen, cross of contagion, a particular passion. It's infectious and contagious to people when you share your passions. Sarah, cross of laws. Laws is ultimately limitations, and following particular guidelines in life can lead to more evolution. So that's another reframe perspective on that. The cross of doubts, another one where if people hear their cross and they go, I don't know if I want to have doubts per se, or I'm not necessarily a doubtful person, but it's more about skepticism, critical thinking, analysis of a very curious person. So this is just another kind of vibrational language reframe. If you comment below what your incarnation cross is, After this live stream, I will give you what the energetic reframe is for your particular cross, if you comment that right now. To recap what we went over the basics of Incarnation Cross, how it's the basis of your life story, provides context to all the mechanics. And in fact, I would say it comes first. Know what your story is, what story you're entering into, and it provides purpose to everything else that you're doing. We talked about Incarnation Cross in your story. I've heard recently from someone that the reason that they made a purchasing decision was because they were so drawn in by someone's story. It just spoke to them, and they wanted to achieve that particular result that that person had shared based off their story of what they have overcome in their own past. That's really what everyone seems to have true authority on, is your own life experience, what you have overcame, the obstacles you've went through, to be able to share that with other people, with your clients and people that come to you. We also went into some examples and then discussed the integration between traditional human design language and then how it might feel a little bit more approachable with the reframe of quantum human design language. Conclusion about clarity and alignment. Clarity and alignment comes from embracing your life story, kind of accepting, or I like the word cooperating with wherever your life wants to take you. It's the path you're on, whether you like it or not. The alignment of your story. So aligning in the congruency sense, like does your Incarnation Cross match your story? And then integrate that into your messaging and your copywriting. And then also acknowledging and appreciating that each person has a unique path, and to honor whatever someone has to contribute. It's the essence of their contribution. Okay, this is the free resource announcement. If you comment Incarnation in the chat below, I will send you 4 different things. I'll send you a copy of these slides if you'd like to review them again. I'll send you this really in-depth resource. I think it has all 700 different variations, specifically through the lens of your profile. It's like 1,000 pages. It's like, I kind of see why Incarnation Cross isn't talked about that much, because there's so much depth to it. So to do it concise with brevity, it took me a long time just to come up with this in a concise way. But this is a reference that I have for you. It's a PDF download. It's really fantastic. So I'll send you that. I've got 2 recommendations for books of self-study of how to read more about your incarnation. They are paid. There's some books, but that's optional. And then I'll send you, especially for application purposes, to start to apply what you're learning, the Audience and Marketing by Design User Guide and Workbook. So if you comment Incarnation below, after the live stream, I will send you those in private message. All right, this is the special opportunity that I currently have open. I've just opened enrollment this week to bring on some new individuals who are looking to apply their human design in a very sequential way. Sequential being the operative word, because you can learn so much right now. There's just endless resources and trainings, but to actually sequence it together in a way that is aligned with you, your chart, that takes some specific guidance, and I'm more than happy to help you through that. So this is that particular offer I'll spend a few minutes on. If you comment roadmap, I will send you the details about this particular offer, and I'll be in touch with you on Messenger to see if this would be the right opportunity for you. What we're covering over these 12 weeks together is in 5 specific steps. So in 90 days, we'll start with how your human design type is uniquely built to run a successful business. You may have found already that things that are designed perhaps for generators may not be applicable for projectors, may not be applicable to reflectors or manifestors. So fine-tuning that with finessing it to how is it going to work for your particular human design type. Second step, we'll take a really good in-depth look at your messaging and your copywriting to see, does that aligned as well with your offer, those 2 matching. And then we'll take a look at your offer and craft it in a way that's directly aligned with a very specific ideal target audience of who it is you would like to work with specifically, how you speak to them. And then as it gets more into the real practicals, you may have all of those lined up already, but then we'll also develop a very specific game plan. a game plan being different than like a strategy is kind of vague and like just post at these times on these social media sites and it kind of gets lost. But a very specific game plan that's catered to you for an effective marketing strategy to your audience that you can repeat and do, that's going to be effective for you, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Just have one consistent method. Step 5, this is ultimately on the path and the goal to expedite your path to client acquisition, because ultimately you can be doing things all the time, but if you're not working with clients or bringing in revenue, that's where I like to come in and kind of offer that assistance of how is this bringing in more revenue for your business, and sequencing that all together in a way that actually works for you, that isn't draining all your energy, so you still have consistent, sustainable energy while your business is working effectively in the way you want it to. I have a number of bonuses for people who would like to get started and inquire in the next week. These 3 bonuses I have are $700 off the full investment. Second bonus, just as a token of gratitude, I'll pay for your first $100 of marketing expenses. Third bonus is there'll be 2 additional sessions where we'll focus specifically on the most efficient client acquisition strategy for you. And as a sentiment to my ongoing commitment to you, I truly want to see you be successful. I'm here for you. I believe in what you're doing. If you're here, you've been a part of this community. I'm not able to offer this to everyone because it requires quite a bit of my time and commitment. I have a guarantee for qualified individuals that I'll work with you one-on-one until you receive the full investment back from your own clients. Like I said, I'm not able to offer this to everybody. I wish I could. So for the investment details and to have a chat and to do a quick assessment on your business to see if you qualify for this guarantee, type a roadmap below, and then I'll be in touch with you probably today if I can get to it. For the next live stream training, we've covered some topics that went into building a highly engaged audience, some other principles of client acquisition. And I'm going to be focused on people who get started with the 90-day roadmap. So I won't be doing live stream trainings, but I will be starting back up in the next few weeks. And I will give notifications about that. Again, the prompts were, if you type Incarnation, I'll send you the free resources. And also if you type in your Incarnation cross with the word reframe, I'll let you know what the quantum human design name is for your Incarnation cross. Anything else, any other questions you have about this particular topic or any insights or primary takeaways that you've had, just comment those as well. And I will, I'll see you in the comments afterwards. That does it for today's training. Again, I'm very appreciative for everyone who is a part of this community, who has joined, has been a part of this process. It really means the world to me. This particular work, I love to be able to offer it. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.